Welcome to Hollywood Happenings in the Hollywood Hour. Stop by this Saturday, September the 4th at 3 p.m. Pacific Time, 5 p.m. Central Time, 6 p.m. Eastern Time for a live chat with Ispeak for some words of wisdom. Get to know Ispeak. Find out about his upcoming projects, books, speaking engagements. Stop by Hollywood Happenings. This is Karen at Hollywood Happenings in the Hollywood Hour. See you Saturday, September the 4th. Ooh, there you are. Oh, I'm big on my screen and you're little on your screen. On my screen.
I think it's formatting. You can change like the layout. That's one thing that I really like about StreamYard. You can change the layout.
Oh, there we go.
There we go.
That's better.
Much better.
Oh, I got it. So like if you could change to 3 or whatever.
Mhm.
Okay.
All
All
right. How
right.
many people you have on? Yeah.
Yeah, just you. I mean, somebody said they might want to come in and ask you a question, and I guess I could flip it over that if I get a green room request. I
Okay,
don't know.
that's cool. We can do that.
Yeah,
Or
yeah, I
they can put it
guess.
in the comments. It doesn't matter.
Right. Oh, speaking of comments, let me turn the comments so I can see them. Can you see the comments?
I cannot.
Oh, darn. Okay, I'll show you one thing that I did just to start it off. Okay, first we're going to start off. I'm just going to ask you to tell everybody who is Ispeak1906.
Ispeak1906 is a global phenomenon. I'm a man of many hats. Author, speaker, entrepreneur, husband, father. I wear a lot of hats. Content creator. But really and truly, I'm just a vessel. That's what I like to think of myself as, a vessel, doing my part in utilizing the gifts that I've been blessed with to empower others and change the trajectory of their lives, as well as encourage and empower those that may need that extra oomph, in their walk, or that extra oomph in their day.
I do have one small video, if I can find it. Where are you? There it is. And then this is going to start off our questions, kind of like what happened in the news this past week,
Okay.
or the big thing, and then we'll get your take on that.
One question on abortion rights in Texas, sir. What would be your message to women in Texas, and what can your administration do to protect abortion rights on a federal level?
I'm late for going down. I'm going to talk about these things from Louisiana, but I have continue to be a strong supporter of Roe v. Wade. Number one. And the most pernicious thing about the Texas law, it sort of creates a vigilante system where people get rewards to go out to, anyway. And it just seems, I know this sounds ridiculous, almost un-American, what we're talking about. Not to debate about, I respect people who think who don't support Roe v. Wade. I respect their views. I respect those who believe life begins at the moment of conception and all. I respect that. Don't agree, but I respect that. I'm not going to impose that on people. But what I was told, and I must tell you, I am not certain. I was told that there are possibilities within the existing law to have the Justice Department look and see whether are there things that can be done that can limit the independent action of individuals in enforcing a federal system, a state law. I don't know enough to give you an answer yet. I've asked that to be checked. Thank you all very much.
Okay, with the Supreme Court decision, where do you think that leads us, and with women's rights and the abortion?
I've been a firm believer in, when people ask me, am I pro-life or pro-choice? I tell them I'm pro-mind your motherfucking business. You know, if you don't have a uterus, I do not feel like you should be seeking to regulate those that do. I think that it speaks directly to, and it's interesting because I had a debate about this um, with a young lady, and well, she was a woman. I say young lady, just the Southern in me, about the patriarchy and how we have rich old white men, the majority, making these decisions, you know, wholeheartedly about women's bodies. Men in general passing laws regulating women's bodies, and I don't agree with it at all. You know, if you're not pregnant or you don't have the capability of being pregnant, then this is not a conversation that you should be at the table having. And if you are going to be having that conversation, you need to ensure that you include women into that conversation, because that in and of itself, to me, seems as though you're purposely cutting them out of the conversation. And I don't agree with that at all. So for our president to take the stance that he's taken in terms of, you know, supporting Roe v. Wade, I think that, you know, we're coming to a point where now it's a moral decision, you know, for people. Like you said, I don't agree with the opposition, but I respect it. You know what I mean? And I think that's a personal declaration that one must have and make and stand firm on. This is not an issue that I truly do believe that we should be wholeheartedly as men discussing amongst ourselves. That this is a conversation that needs to be had with women. And far too often, women are not added to that conversation, nor are they even thought about to be included in said conversation. And again, I don't agree with that whatsoever.
And what do you think it's suddenly coming to this about women's rights, the abortion? Do you think that?
I don't think this is a sudden thing. Like I said in my debate, we went back to, if I'm not mistaken, it was Alabama in 2019. 25 senators voted on an abortion bill. All of them were men. All of them, all 25. So this isn't something that's new. It just consistently speaks to the patriarchy that exists within our society, that says that women are here, men are here, and they need not be part of certain conversations, even if that conversation involves the regulation of their body, the regulation of their lifestyle. And I don't agree with that.
Now, do you think with the voting issues that's being passed in Texas and Georgia, Arizona, do you think that's going to eventually? Because right now it's just like for the race, you know, they're trying to submit the. I can't think of the word I'm trying to say. Do you think eventually that's going to curtail the taking women's rights away to vote?
You know, it kind of reminds me of a quote by Dr. King. He says, "Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere." So it's almost essentially as if you can't take any cards off the table. You know, if they'll take and regulate these rights for this specific group of people, who's to say that it's not going to happen to this group of people? Who's to say it's not going to happen to this demographic of people? I think when we get into the dangerous nature of not just regulating, but regurgitating these old talking points and regurgitating these old mindsets, we put ourselves in a position as a society to be moving backwards instead of forward. So in the reality is that anything is possible. However, as long as we have people that are standing up for truth, as long as we have people who are standing up for the people and not for their own personal interests and or a couple dollars in their pocket, then I feel like we'll start to make some more progressive steps forward instead of backwards, as we've seen historically.
How do you feel the 216? Everything they have starting with 216 has progressed us to making America great again into a backwards flow.
216. What is 216?
2016 with the election of Trump.
Oh, okay, got you. I'm thinking you talking about February. I'm like, what happened February 16th?
No, 2016. I'm sorry.
Got you. Really and truly, racism is nothing new. Bigotry is nothing new. I feel as though that the past administration, I call him the celebrity in chief, the former celebrity in chief, he emboldened and empowered individuals to be their natural selves. Racism didn't just creep up out of these people. They didn't just wake up one day and decide, oh, I want to be a racist today. I want to be a bigot today. No, he gave them that encouragement, and he gave them that feeling of, oh, it's okay for you to think the way that you're thinking. It's okay for you to live the lifestyle that you're living. Make America great again. And I always ask the question to people that say that, what part of our history are we talking about that was great? Because for marginalized groups of people, it's been rough for us for a very long period of time. Now, I do want to give a shout out to Killer Mike, who talked a lot about Reconstruction around that time where it was good for us. But guess what happened to our communities? They were burnt down. They were bombed. So in this regard, we have this idea when we understand the social construct that is race, right? And then we think about racism. Then we think about white supremacy and all of the things that come along with that. And historically, what has taken place as a result of individuals feeling as though they're at the top of the food chain and everyone else is subsequently lower than them. When we live in a society of people whose mindsets mirror that sentiment, we're always going to have backwards progress. So I don't believe that this all started with former President Trump, this whole Make America Great Again. I believe that, that red hat gave a lot of people an opportunity to take off their white hoods.
And can you explain exactly for people watching that what white privilege actually is? Because a lot of people has a misunderstanding, thinking, oh, well, because it's this and this and this, but it's the color of the skin.
I think one of the most common misconceptions about white privilege is that you have to benefit from it in order for it to exist. You have people that say, well, my parents were poor, or, I had to struggle, everything wasn't always handed to me. The reality is that we live in a society that caters to white people. Now, I'm talking specifically in America, because I can't speak about any experience of any other country or anything like that. I'm talking America. White privilege states that you don't have to fight for representation. You don't have to fight for the standards to be set in terms of the beauty standards, in terms of, hair, in terms of dress, in terms of body size, in terms of representation on TV, in terms of equity in the healthcare industry, in terms of educational equality, in terms of income equality. There's so many things that exist, and the systems that are in place. We talk about gentrification. We talk about the school to prison pipeline, things of that nature, that while you may not directly benefit from the system, you are living in a society that if you are not actively fighting against these systems, you are contributing to them, whereby your mindset based on the privilege that you have allows you to think from that standpoint instead of marginalized groups of people who are actually the recipients of the negative impacts of said systems that are in place.
Now, are you familiar with Mae West?
Say again?
Mae West?
Mae West?
Yes.
No.
She's an actress here in Hollywood, or former actress. She's passed away now, but she was big into LA real estate. Mm-hmm. And she wanted her boyfriend. She was dating a boxer. I forget his name right now. He was, boxer of color, and they refused to let him in the building to go see her. So you want to know what she did? She bought the building.
Wow, that's a money move right there.
She knew how to play power. She had the power and the money, and she knew how to do it. She goes, oh, you can't come see me? I'll buy the building. And then you know who Nat King Cole is.
Yeah.
He wanted this house in Hancock Park, which was an all-white neighborhood. Mm-hmm. And they did not want him to live there. They tried everything they could to get him out. And he said, tell you what, you give me $1 million and I'll move out in the country. So they dropped the issue.
Wow. And I'm not surprised at that. I'm not surprised at that.
I was surprised that he was so big of an activist. I didn't realize it. But yet everybody loves the music, but yet they want to listen to it, but they don't want to give everybody equal opportunities.
Right.
Did I say that correctly?
Yeah. It's almost essentially as if you want to be a part of our culture. You want to reap the benefits that come along with, the music, the clothes, the dress, the walk, the talk, but then you don't like black people. It,
What
it, the math isn't mathing. It makes no sense. And then when you put it into perspective, it does make sense because they want. It's almost like the statement, "Everybody wants to be black till it's time to be black." When the reality is that if we fight more so for an equitable society, you see equality, I've given up on that. I don't want equality. I want equitable equality because we've been fighting for equality for how long? We want equity. That's what we want. We want equitable equality. So in this regard, we're not just fighting so that everyone is equal, because if you think about it, you got a 6-foot man, a 5-foot man, and a 4-foot man, right? If
right?
they all walk up to that fence, equality says that they all can stand in front of that fence. They all have the capability to stand in front of that fence. Now, is everyone's vision going to be the same? Absolutely not. So equitable equality says that that 6-foot man and that 5-foot man are okay with that 4-foot man having a step stool. That 6-foot man is okay with that 5-foot man having a step stool, just so that they can all see the exact same thing. Now, how you go about seizing the opportunities that are beyond that fence is completely up to you. You can only help but so much. But equitable equality says that we all have the opportunity to see what's out there, and access to me, especially as it relates to my community and marginalized groups of people. Access is what limits us or keeps us rather from certain opportunities. And most oftentimes that 6-foot person is a cisgender Christian white male.
Now we're going to go over to your TikTok because with your speaking and getting the word out, you have 1.3 million on TikTok, and they
Yes.
keep banning you. They ban your backup accounts. What's going on with TikTok? I mean, I've had like duets that I duetted with other creators that they take my videos down because I duetted with them. I'm like, so what is going on with TikTok? Are they trying to silence us?
There's a lot of inadequacies within the algorithm. And, I've been seeing a lot more people move over to platforms like Fanbase, to whereby you can own more of your content. You can monetize your platform a lot better as well. You have more people posting to Instagram Reels. I think we need to start looking at TikTok as a vehicle, because TikTok has consistently shown us that it caters to a specific demographic of people. And there are those of us, like myself, who just so happen to be able to build, let me retract that, who just so happen to have been blessed with a platform the size of mine as well as others that have found ways to monetize outside of the platform, whereby on the platform, we're not receiving the same benefits, we're not receiving the same opportunities. But I always push back some of the responsibility and onus back off onto the content creator, because there are a lot of people who think just because you have 1 million followers or 2 million or 3 million. I'll give you a perfect example. I have a mutual of mine, and I'm not going to say his name for sake of anonymity, but he has about, I'm going to give a roundabout, somewhere between 6 to 10 million followers. Now, I know how many he has, but if I say the number, people are going to know what I'm talking about. He has somewhere between 6 to 10 million followers. He did not drop his merch line until he had 5 million. And I'm just like, what? You're leaving so much money on the table in terms of monetizing your platform, because that's the purpose of building a platform, right? Is to be able to monetize it, to help people or to help yourself. You know what I'm saying? If that's what an individual tries to do. I know me, I do a lot of fundraising. You know what I mean? I do a lot of helping of, marginalized groups of people, speaking up for other communities. I know we did the Toys for Tots drive last year. I plan on doing that again. And just, what type of content creator are you trying to become? That's what the question is. And then what happens is we take in, and I'm gonna be honest, I fell into this a little bit myself, and I had to realize that we got to stop doing this. TikTok has consistently shown us what they cater to. TikTok has consistently shown us that they have specific guidelines that they're not willing to, or let me retract that, automation guidelines that they're not willing to give us, right? So now we're trying to figure out where we fit in, the algorithm, where we fall within the algorithm. And then we build these massive platforms, and you have people who have yet to monetize their platforms. So what I'm doing now is I'm teaching people how to cross over to other platforms, how to cross over to the YouTubes, to the Instagrams, like I said, fan base. And I think fan base is a growing platform that within the next 2 to 3 years is really going to take off. Clapper was doing well, but it's so overrun with like conspiracy theories and Trumpers that spreading misinformation. I don't think it's going to take off the way that it could potentially do in terms of allowing people the opportunity of free speech, so to speak. Because even with these private companies, we got to realize our speech is not 100% free. You want to know why? Because we have community guidelines. And all of us that hit that accept button, and this is why I say we got to stop doing this, and I include myself. We got to stop complaining and start holding them accountable. Because the reality is this: as soon as we hit that accept button, we are agreeing to be governed by their community guidelines. So in that, we need to ensure that the community guidelines are equitable for everybody, not just for one specific demographic of people. And that's not been happening.
And we have someone in the green room. Say hi, Swervin.
Hi, Swervin. Are they coming up, or they have a question?
Let me pull him up. Hey, Swerve, can you hear me?
My camera. There you go. Speak.
Do you have a
What's up,
question?
brother?
What's going on, man?
Nothing. I've been following you for quite a while on TikTok, and after seeing a few of your videos, and I just call him Loki. Lokius.
Oh, T. Nathan? Yeah.
Yeah, Nathan. That's pretty much what inspired me to get in and start making, posting content. I don't have nowhere near the fan base you guys have, but I think your message is your message has been impeccable. I mean, it's been nothing short of remarkable, and I think it's good that people like yourself and Nathan are on here, USA Army Overlord, because there's a lot of young people who come across your videos.
Right.
When they're just scrolling through TikTok, there's a lot of young folks that come across your videos and they see you guys. You speak with passion, you speak with conviction, and come hell or high water, you know exactly what you were talking about. And that's what I love more than anything else with all of you guys.
Absolutely. I appreciate that. And let me be very clear about something as well, because one of the hugest misconceptions that people have is that this work is easy. It's not.
No.
We've had threats on our lives. We've had threats on our families. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But I'm a firm believer in fuck around and find out.
Oh, absolutely. And that's the funniest thing with me, because I post more political content than anything else.
Mm-hmm.
And I live in Columbus, Ohio, and a few months back, we had Andre Hill. He got shot and killed by a police officer. And I can't remember the other gentleman's name, but he was shot in his garage, shot and killed by a police officer. That all happened within 30 days. And,
wow.
As I posted this content about these two gentlemen, it was, oh, you liberals just whine about everything. And, it was maybe they should have just complied. And when I posted that video, that was when I started getting death threats. And I told him, I said, I don't know what it is that make you people think you're the only ones with guns.
Facts.
Facts. I don't know what makes you think you're the only ones with firearms. I tell you right now, you come through my front door without my permission, you're going to be backed by 99 pounds of teeth and muscle. And she's going to hold you back long enough for me to rack one. And at that point, I'm sorry, you're getting 2 in the chest and 1 in the head. God going to sort you out.
That's it.
So, and that was the first time in a long time I'd had my life threatened just over my views on black men being unjust. I mean, how do you shoot a man straight in the heart when he's walking out of his garage with nothing but his cell phone in his hand? Within 90 seconds of those police showing up, this man ended up dead on his garage floor. And to this day, There's been no charges filed. Anytime I inquire about it, the only thing I can find is the investigation is ongoing.
Yeah.
I'm like, this happened last year, and
Yeah.
how is this investigation still ongoing? And it was the same thing with Andre Hill. And Andre got shot in the back like 4 or 5 times.
Yeah.
And I said, man, we really gotta, we really gotta start bringing attention to this stuff when it happens. Not months later down the road, not years later down the road. Some attention needs to be put on it, when it happens. And I know Nathan is really good at doing that. When there's something big going on, he's on it. He's on it.
What
And
about
I know, like you said, I know you guys. The work ain't easy. Y'all put in a lot more work than I
It
do.
ain't. Well, I definitely appreciate you for coming up and giving us those words, man. I genuinely do.
Oh, and I've been in a couple of your lives. I've been in a couple of Nathan's lives. USA Army Overlord. But y'all have so many people in there.
Yeah.
I understand. And the beautiful thing is you have your platform, you're talking, putting your message out there in your word, and it's resonating with people. And I just sit back and listen. And I see all the silly comments that come in, people come into your lives yelling Trump 2024.
Of course.
I'm like, does he know he not paying attention to him? Like he ain't looking at that fool.
Definitely.
And it's the same thing when I do my lives. But yeah, I've been wanting to, when Karen told me, because Karen interviewed me a couple weeks ago, and I won a couple awards from her. But when she told me she was coming in, I said I'd love to come in and say, just at the very least, just say hi to him. That brother is on point, and he's all right. He good people.
Absolutely.
And he's a veteran, so you're always near and dear to my heart.
3 veterans right here? 1, 2, 3. All Navy.
Active.
Huh?
I'm
You're still active. But we're all Navy, right? You're Navy, Navy.
Yeah, I am.
Yo.
Been in the NAV. This whole family is Navy. Me, my wife, and our son just got out.
Now, how do you feel, Ispeak, with the prosecutor that was prosecuting the Omar Library case? A little bit like of their own medicine. No, they're facing the same thing.
I kind of see Nathan's sentiment in terms of feeling like true justice doesn't happen with dead people. In terms of the criminal justice system, I do believe that people should get their just due, especially if they're not being ethical, especially if they're not following the law, if they're breaking the law. But I kind of feel like Ahmaud should still be here. So there are some people who are celebrating this as like a huge win. And, I don't want to feel like I'm taking that away from them, but it's more so to me, we shouldn't even have to be at this point. We shouldn't even have to get to this point. The brother just said earlier how, we're waiting a year, 2 years, 3 years, and then it almost makes it seem as though that they're basking in our trauma by showing us these the death on television, national television, time and time and time again. No trigger warning, just time and time and time again. And it's just a way for them to continue doing that, which sows a seed of fear in the minds of some, not all, in the minds of some, because they feel as though we have these vigilantes that can just do whatever they want to do. And then they say, oh, they're showing it for educational purposes, but yet we have to relive this over and over and over again. So my thing is, why can't we do that and have this conversation equitably without having to revisit that? So in this, I don't see it as a win. I see it as a judicial writing. Nobody should have to feel as though the person that's going to war for them, so to speak, in the courtroom is doing it erroneously or is being facetious in their practice. So, I would say that I'm glad, but I'm more so coming from the standpoint that we shouldn't even have to be here in the first place.
And what are your feelings on the California recall with the Republican recall?
I'm not familiar. What is that?
They're trying to recall the governor. Basically, because the only thing that he did wrong was he went out and he had dinner. And then it took like 4 months before they could get the petition started. And so that gave him extra time to get enough signatures. And now we have a recall coming up on September the 14th, which today is the first day of.
Is that Newsom?
Yeah, Newsom.
Oh, he should have been gone. He should have been gone. But again, we have this society that says we're going to allow these individuals a certain amount of power, right? And then when it doesn't serve our public interest to the point where we're getting so much criticism, and I think this, let's get off Newsom for a second. I think this goes into politicians, period, especially when they represent a specific party. If that individual is doing essentially the party's work, they have no issue. But the moment they come under public criticism, so much so that it's undeniable, now they don't mind axing their own. And I see it on my side. And when I say my side, I'm not Republican or Democrat. I'm registered independent. And really and truly, if I didn't have to register as anything, I wouldn't. But I digress. I've seen it more so from the Republican side than from the Democratic side. And that's not to say that, the Democrats are just hands clean, never did anything wrong. It's just to say that I've seen it more on the Republican side than I've seen it on the Democratic side. However, right. I've seen it more so in politicians, period. Just this whole idea of as long as you're serving the party's interests, they don't care. They don't mind. No issues, no criticisms, no nothing. But the minute you start going against the grain, the minute the public starts mounting up against you, it's like, let me just axe them and replace them with someone else that's going to continue to fit the needs of our party, that's going to be more palpable to the people, right? And that's going to do the bidding of the party. No, so I think as a whole, it's a politician issue. I don't think it's just singular to Newsom.
Yeah. No, Newsom's on the Democratic side. People's mad because they closed down. He shut down California to try to stop the pandemic.
Right.
And now you got like conservative radio host Larry Elder and Kevin Faulkner, Caitlyn Jenner, and along with like 65 others.
I find it oddly ironic that some of the main anti-maskers and anti-vaxxers are the ones popping up with COVID. The same ones out here telling people don't wear the mask. And the thing about it is, let me be very clear about this, because I talked about this on my live the other day. Mistake me not. I'm not telling you to go get the vaccine. I'm not telling you not to go get the vaccine. I'm not telling you to wear a mask. I'm not telling you not to wear a mask. But understand that these are just barriers of protection. That's it. That's it. This whole idea that, oh my gosh, the mask doesn't allow me to breathe, that's cap. And it's been debunked. Oh, the vaccine, you got people out here essentially pushing this idea that if you take the vaccine, that somehow you're going to turn into Magneto. And you're going to be magnetized. Like, what? Who are these people? Like, I'm not understanding. So my whole thing is this. If you're going to be someone that says, you know what, I don't want to take the vaccine, I don't want to wear a mask, then don't be out here spreading misinformation. Don't be out here erroneously putting out this information and facetiously putting out this information that you know is not factual and that you know is not credible. Your source is, trust me, bro, that's your source. You have no credible source. You have no credible scientist that backs up any of your claims. So if you're going to be out here doing that, do that for you and your family. Don't be out here spreading that misinformation. Hey, what's his name? Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
How quickly after his rant did he contract COVID? And now he's taking medication. Look at how life works. He's taking medication that the average American does not have access to. Is that equity? No. Is that equity? Is that a health
capitalism
equity? No. Why do we have medication available for individuals that the average American that may very well contract COVID don't have access to?
Exactly.
Why does that even exist? Because we have individuals who serve bigger purposes. We all know about Big Pharma. Come on. Come on, you'll be a fool not to acknowledge the existence of Big Pharma. But at the end of the day, what we have to understand, recognize, and realize is that there are individuals whom don't want equality, whom don't want equitable equality. And those are the individuals that we need to be actively fighting against.
And what are your feelings on DeSantis and Abbott?
I don't put my stock in politicians. I'm just going to say that. I think that as citizens, we put far too much stock in our politicians. I feel like we don't put enough emphasis on our smaller local government officials and or representatives, like our city council members, the superintendent of our school districts, our sheriffs, things that special elections, runoff elections. We put way too much stock in the state, in the in the House, in the Senate, in the every 4 years for the president, but we neglect all of our locals that could actually bring about change within our communities. So when we think about these bigger politicians, I just look at them as politicians, and we need to start holding them accountable before they get in office. Because if you ask the average person, when's the last time you've been to a town hall meeting? When's the last time you've been to a virtual town hall meeting? Do you know who your city councilmen or city councilwomen are, or city council people? Do you know who the superintendent of your school district is, where you're immediately located? Do you know the name of your sheriff? If they cannot produce answers to those questions on a basic level, at least one of those groups of people, we got a bigger problem, because those are some of the loudest ones criticizing the mayor, criticizing the governor, criticizing the president, criticizing the House, the Senate. And it's just like, you're not even doing your due diligence in your local community. So how am I to accept your criticisms of an individual with a larger responsibility, and you're not even going after the people with the smaller responsibilities? Or at least in your, let's just say we forget all of those people, right? Let's just talk about the individual person that's assigned to your specific community. Do you know who that person is? If you do not, we have a problem. We have a huge problem, because that tells me that you're not even locally invested. So how do I know that your state investment or your country investment is a credible investment, whereby it's nothing more than talking points? No credible evidence, no credible sources, no scholars backing you up. How can I trust that? Which is, for me, it kind of rolls back into the former administration. People literally took being a Trump supporter as being a personality trait. Let's put Trump to the side for right now. That is so dangerous, because now what happens is, and again, this is not to make it a Trump versus a President Biden thing. It's from my understanding, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, meet me in the comments, come over to my page, talk to me, and show me a person that made President Biden their personality. Because I firmly believe that they voted for Biden just so that they could get Trump out of office. And if we're talking sheer numbers, if you want to unseat a Republican president, you have to vote Democrat. That's just being politically responsible, to say that you want that person out of office, because whatever the case may be. And I believe that should be the standard. If an individual does not do their job, vote them out. But I think as citizens, we don't do a good job vetting them from the very beginning and figuring out what their platforms are. What are they going to do for our community? Now, granted, they're not going to be able to do everything. I've not met nor researched a perfect president, ever. However, we have every right for our voices to be heard. We have every right to bring our grievances as well as our concerns to whomever that political candidate is. But we wait far too long to do that, to hold them accountable, to whereby they're already in office, working through their term. Now, all of a sudden, we got all these demands. So in this regard, I think to bring it full circle, we need to do a better job at vetting as well as holding these politicians accountable before they get in office, not once they got there.
Here's a question for you. How would you describe Ispeak in one word?
Transformational.
Why?
My life experiences have taught me that not just as a man, but as an intelligent Black man, I have to be able to adapt to so many different environments. And for me, the only thing constant in life is change. So we're consistently improving ourselves, gaining more knowledge, gaining more experiences, and being able to be transformational, not just for me, but for others as well, to assist in changing the trajectory of their lives if in fact they're going down the wrong path. My grandmother told me that as a child, nothing we do in this life is for us. And when we take that and put that into perspective, we understand, recognize, and realize that the experiences that we're having is to be able to teach and show others what not to do and to give them an example so that they don't have to go down that path. I'll give you an example. I don't have to snort cocaine or smoke some crack for me to know that it's not a good thing to do. You know what I mean? I don't have to have certain experiences for me to know, hey, listen, I probably shouldn't be doing that. So in this regard, we have this arbitrary mindset that we have to experience certain things or we have to go through certain things in order to know that they're bad and to call them out. So I say transformational because we're always changing. And the only thing constant in this life is change.
And if you were a color, what would you be and why?
If I was a color, black. Blackity black, black, black.
No, why?
Just because I love myself, man. I think historically, we've been taught to hate ourselves. We've been taught not to value our women. We've been taught to make exceptions for things that we should not make exceptions for. And I think it came full circle when I researched my background. So my wife and I, we took our ancestry test, right? And for those of you that take ancestry test, I would encourage you to not just take ancestry, but to take African ancestry as well. Because what African ancestry does is it tells you the exact group of people that you've come from, not just the region. So I know that I'm Nigerian, but now I want to know the exact people that my bloodline originated from. And then researching them, it's almost like when people say, oh, I'm not my ancestors. No, I am. I am my ancestors. My ancestors were warriors, kings, queens, politicians, and public speakers. Dun, 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 dun. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, understanding and researching yourself, I think it gives you more of a lease on life because many of us don't know what our backgrounds are. Many of us, unless we have family members that can trace our lineage back to its origin and or back far enough so that we know from whence we've come. So in this regard, I think what happens is you have people who will seek to try and make you feel bad as a result of it. And I don't at all.
Do you think some of these white supremacists or people, if they did the research in their heritage and ancestry, that they could change their minds because they could be something that they didn't know that they were?
Could they change their mind? It's a possibility. Would they change their mind is the better question. Because you don't just wake up one day a white supremacist. You choose to be that. You're either immersed in an environment that tells you that that mindset and that sentiment is okay, or you legitimately choose to live that lifestyle. I don't believe it's something that just falls out the air one day and you just decide to start treating people like crap. That doesn't just happen overnight. And it might have been a bad experience rather, that you may have had with a specific group of people. Again, that does not cause you to be a white supremacist or a nationalist for that matter. So in this regard, I feel like people choose to be that. Now, again, anything is possible. So could they very well research their background and find out, oh, snap, I've had some X, Y, and Z in my background. I should no longer be like this. But am I going to trust that? Probably not. And life experiences have taught me to be more cautious around individuals whom try to sway and move through that type of environment.
If you were a song, what would you be and why?
If I were a song, what would I be? UNITY. Because really and truly, I believe that we're stronger together than we are separated. And I think that the powers that be, right? I think that they focus more on trying to divide us in the sense of our political affiliation, in terms of our race, culture, creed, ethnicity, whatever the case may be. They try to find multiple barriers to separate us. However, when we come together, we are so much stronger together, which is why, and I want to reiterate this, which is why I said I'm fighting for equitable equality. Because it's not enough to just fight for equality, but to fight for equitable equality says that we're all going to equitably come together, right? Meaning that we don't mind sharing resources. We don't mind putting others in a position to whereby they can be successful, and we don't feel some type of way about it.
What is the one topic from this past week that stood out to you that made you the most vocal about from this past week?
From this past week, I think it would have to be abortion. Because I firmly believe that, especially as someone with a platform, I feel like we have let me retract that. As a professional public speaker, right? As a professional spoken word artist, anytime I step in front of a microphone, I feel as though, and this is what I've been taught since I was a child, we have a responsibility. We have a responsibility with our voice. We have a responsibility to speak truth to power. And we also have a responsibility to debunk ignorance. And with that, what I've come to find is that there are individuals that don't want you speaking truth to power. There are people that don't want you putting the right information out into the atmosphere, because then that is going to change people's mindsets. And that goes into this whole idea of being transformational, right? Being able to reach across the aisle or reach across different affiliations and say, hey, let's come together. Let's unite on this. However, I think in terms of this past week, what I'm starting to see more now is people that don't have a uterus, people that cannot get pregnant, people that don't have to deal with the woes of pregnancy, having the most vocal opinion. And in this regard, I think there's a fine time for us to step back and really analyze, where is this coming from? I have 3 children. I watched my wife through all 3 of her pregnancies. One in which she delivered my son naturally at home. And it just gives me such a more profound, not that I didn't have respect for women already, but such a more profound respect for women and what women go through to see that. No medication whatsoever to push out an 8-pound baby. That was phenomenal to me. And then we think about individuals who never have to go through that, telling someone that potentially does how they should think and feel, what they should do with their body, how they should operate. And to me, I feel that that is morally irresponsible. And if we're going to have this conversation, at the bare minimum, women should be at the forefront of this conversation, period. And I'm always going to stand 10 toes down on that. I don't care, pro-life, pro-choice, whatever, that's fine. Do your thing. But women should be at the forefront of that conversation, period. I don't believe that this should be a male-dominated conversation. And for far too long, it's been. Just like I told you, in 2019, we talked about in the past debate that I had. In 2019, 25 senators in Alabama voted on an abortion bill. not a single one of those senators were women. Why is that? We have to start asking these tough questions. We have to start asking these tough questions and then having more equitable conversation about where we are and where we're going.
And how do you get your inspirations for when you do your public speaking or your writing?
I draw inspiration from a lot of different places. Sometimes it's my own sheer will to educate, because I'm an educator at heart. Sometimes I draw it from the experiences of others, and sometimes I just draw it from research. If there's a topic that I don't know too much about, I don't mind doing my research. However, I also understand, and this is something that I'm growing in as an influencer, is understanding certain conversations I don't need to be at the forefront of. So maybe me duetting or reposting someone else's content to my page to boost their voice, I feel as though is more important than me being at the forefront of that conversation. And I learned that through conversations like issues facing our indigenous community, issues facing the LGBTQIA plus community, intersectional issues, and understanding. Perfect example. I had an individual that I just previously debated on the existence of the patriarchy, right? But one of the topics that she proposed that we debate on is the importance of trans disclosure. As a cisgender, heterosexual male, me personally, I did not feel that that was my place to be debating or to be in the forefront of conversation on, regardless of the size of my platform. And I stood 10 toes down on that. And although I personally tell people all the time, you don't need to thank me for that, there were so many trans men and trans women in my comment section telling me, thank you so much for not accepting that topic as a topic of debate. Because you're telling me, as a cisgender heterosexual male, debating a cisgender heterosexual woman on the importance of trans disclosure, to me, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. There are certain conversations, and I think that that goes into the mindset of us as influencers. We got to be able to take that step back. And like I said, I'm included in that group that I have to understand sometimes that while I may be passionate about something, while I may feel strongly about something, everything that's thought up here doesn't need to come out of here. Sometimes you just need to call one of your close friends or call someone that you love and you care about, that you know you can have this intellectual conversation with, as opposed to recording and posting a video that's subsequently going to get you more hate than it's going to get you love. Now, I'm not saying cater to your audience 1000% with every one of your messages, because I tell people all the time, I don't give a damn if y'all like me at all. You know what I care about? I care that you respect me, because there's going to be something that I'm going to post that you're not going to like. We're humans. Our natural inclination is to disagree, right? Because we all have our own mindsets. And I tell you all the time, I don't want an echo chamber, right? I don't want an echo chamber. I want warriors that are going to fight for what's right. And if you feel as though I'm wrong, let me know and let's talk about it. Let's have intellectual discourse and let's talk about it. But when we talk about it, here's the caveat. When we talk about it, make sure that you are bringing facts. Make sure you're bringing credible sources. These Wikipedia warriors, oh my goodness, I can't stand them. I can't stand them. And the source, trust me, bro. I literally had a guy on live, and just kind of going back to our vaccine and mask conversation, right? Had a guy on live tell me, oh, masks don't work. I'm not wearing them. I said, okay, you feel as though masks don't work, or you don't want to wear it. Okay, why is that? Just genuinely curious. And I stated multiple times, I'm not telling you to wear it. I'm not telling you not to wear it. I'm asking you, because you're saying, I think at that time, I had roughly about 200 people in the live. You're telling a group of people, a group of impressionable people, that masks don't work. So my question is, where are you getting this sentiment from? Because if it's your own personal thought, you need to follow that up with, this is my own personal thought. Because you have no credible evidence to back that up. And then the claim that he brought forward with, oh, I can't breathe properly, it's been debunked by actual scientists that have done actual studies. So now my question goes into motive. What was your motive for coming on my live and stating that publicly? You cannot back up your claims. And now the issue becomes, you're saying this on a live of over 200 people, of impressionable people, whereby you can just state, in my personal opinion. In my personal opinion. Then we can say, okay, well, that's your personal opinion. While I don't agree with it, I hear you. And we can move on from there.
Like, I have a friend, she wears oxygen, and she has to have, like, the oxygen to go. She wears a mask. So they can't say, well, I can't breathe. She's got oxygen. She legitimately would not have to wear it, but she wears it. And a doctor tells her, if you can stand it, wear it.
Wow. Because
So,
again, we got to
I can
remember,
debunk.
it's
That's a
just
debunk.
barrier. It doesn't impede you from talking. It doesn't impede you from eating. Bring it down. I just went to Chili's the other day for happy hour. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Chili's. Take your mask off, eat your food, put your mask back on. Like, it's so super simple. But again, if this is your personal opinion and your personal sentiment, you need to state that. Instead of these goofies out here making these fictitious and facetious videos stating these things with no credible evidence to back up their claims. And they don't realize, again, as influencers, what do we have? Influence. If I said right now, if I made a video right now and said everybody need to wear their masks, I'm going to get love and I'm going to get hate. Don't tell me what to do with my body. Yeah, wear the mask. But there are people that are on the fence that don't know if they should, don't know if they shouldn't. Because they love me and because they love my platform, they're going to say, oh, my favorite content creator told me to wear a mask, I'm going to wear a mask. There are people out there like that. So we have to be very careful with the messages that we put out. Why you think on my page you haven't seen a single mask video? You haven't seen a single vaccine video? I got the vaccine. I'm fully vaccinated. I got the Pfizer vaccine. Did I do any videos about it? No. I think in one video I stated that I was feeling sick because I had the vaccine, that I had just took my first shot, but I still did my video. And people asked me to do follow-up videos talking about my experience with them. No, I'm not doing that. Because I understand as an influencer, we have influence. And it's not my responsibility, in my personal opinion, to tell you what to do with your body. However, it is my responsibility to educate you. Me personally, I feel that it's my responsibility to educate you. So in this regard, when we seek to have these conversations, especially on my live stream where we have hundreds of people assembled under the sound of my voice, then I have a responsibility not to spread misinformation. Can you imagine if I went on an anti-mask or anti-vax rant? My wife's dad, I was about to say my wife's husband, goodness gracious, that's me. My wife's dad has COVID. My brother, shout out to my brother King and Queen Lion. He's a creator on TikTok. He has COVID. This is a very real virus. And the fact that people are taking it as if it's not something that's real, that people are dying from, is, to me, it's morally irresponsible. And to put out these messages with no credible evidence, with no credible sources, with no factual information to back them up, to me, it almost makes me question why you even have a platform. And then, like I said, karma gonna
like Rogan,
time and time again. And some of the same main anti-vaxxers and anti-maskers are the ones contracting COVID. Coincidence? I don't believe in them.
How can someone debate you if they wanted to debate you?
How can someone debate me? So here's the deal. And I'm very, very serious about this. If someone wants to debate me, I tell everyone, message me on Instagram. I am charging $1,000 because these goofies have been seeking access to my platform, a professional public speaker, a professional author, a professional spoken word artist, whom has a platform, who brings thousands of people together to hear these goofies challenge me to topics that they themselves have not done their research on, and they pull up with nothing more than talking points and stank breath, wasting my damn time. So if you want to debate me, $1,000. I'm not negotiating. I'll negotiate up. I ain't going down. So if you got $1,000 and a credible topic that we can debate on, message me on Instagram and let's get it popping. I don't duck no fades. But I'm at a point now in my professional content creation career, because having this platform gives me that, and I don't have to feel no type of way, oh, you're arrogant, you're charging people for debates, then don't debate me. Simple. Because you got to think about it. I'm a husband, I'm a father, I'm a content creator, I'm an author, I'm in the process of writing my next 2 books, and I'm a spoken word artist who gets booked consistently. So I'm taking time out of my day, and we got to stop feeling bad about charging for our time. It is an investment. There's nothing arrogant about that. It is an investment for me to take time out of my day to sit down with someone for an hour, 30 minutes to have these equitable conversations. Now, my firm belief is, as a professional public speaker, I get paid to talk. Hollywood, did I charge you for this?
No.
Because if I'm going to do something for free, I'm going to do it because I want to do it. Not because you're backing me into a corner or because you're trying to make me feel bad about charging for it. When you build up a platform, you have the wherewithal, you have the credibility, and you have the clout, so to speak, in order to do so. And you should not feel bad about that whatsoever. So you get you a credible topic, you get you a rack, come holla at me. Let's get it.
Now, did you want to tell people what you're metaphonically speaking?
Metaphorically speaking?
Yeah, thank you.
Yes. So my first book, as well as my first album, is entitled Metaphorically Speaking. And I'm actually in the process of writing my poetry book. So this is my book, The Purpose of Power, right? Now, my spoken word album is Metaphorically Speaking, and my poetry book that I'm in the process of writing right now is entitled Metaphorically Speaking, a collection of powerful and empowering poems from 2008 all the way up to 2021. So I'm cataloging all of the poems, the majority of the poems that I've written into a book, because oftentimes when I go to performances or when I do my engagement, they ask, oh, do you have a book? Yeah, I have a book, but it's not a poetry book. And they want to see my poetry. So I'm in the process of writing that. And, you know, I'm so thankful. Let me make sure I say that as well, because I never miss an opportunity to thank my audience, because I don't look at them as followers. I look at them as supporters that just so happen to follow me on a social media platform, because I like to believe that the people that support me are leaders in their own way. They're leaders in their own industries. They're leaders in their own market that just so happen to say, hey, I like what that guy is talking about. I like some of the points that he makes. I might not agree with everything, but I like some of the points that he's making. And that's okay. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But I think when we get into this routine of idolatry, to whereby it's like nothing Anthony says is wrong. Anthony can do no wrong. Everything that Anthony says is carte blanche. You know, that's when we start getting into that dangerous idea of misusing your influence. And we've seen far too many people, and I'm going to state this because I feel very strongly about this. You have too many influencers messing with these kids. And I'm so sick and tired of it. You can't find somebody your age, be celibate. You can't find somebody your age, hell, upgrade your personality. You know what I'm saying? Go find you some personality. You know what I'm saying? Go find you a hobby. But leave these damn kids alone. Okay.
What is your hobby?
I'm sorry?
What is your hobby?
You said, what is my what?
What is your hobby?
Oh, what is my hobby? Writing. I love writing. I love jazz music. More specifically, I love the saxophone instrumentals. I listen to a lot of meditation music. As of recently, Native American flute music has been a staple in my my meditation routine. So I'll listen to that, and I love being down by the water. I bought a kayak, so now I'm out on the water. I'm kayaking. You know, I'm at a point now where I'm living life for me. I feel like for far too often we live life for other people, right? One of my favorite poems is Our Deepest Fear by Mariam Williamson. And my favorite part of that poem is, your playing small does not serve the world. There's nothing enlightened about shrinking so that others feel comfortable around you. So the majority of my life, people, oh, who do you think you are? You think you're so smart because you're using all these big words. I stopped thinking years ago. I know I'm very intelligent. I know who I am. And I should not have to be made to feel bad about that. And it's not talking white. It's not talking proper. It's just me having conversation. Period. Oh, my audience over there on TikTok, they say Nerf guns. Yeah, I just bought a new Nerf, actually. Let me show you my new Nerf. I'm super excited about this. I just bought this. Oh, man. It's awesome. I love it. I'm actually about to unbox it as soon as I get off. As soon as I get off of here. And again, it's just something that I found to be a stress reliever. It's something that I've found to be something that brings me joy, and it became a little bit of an addiction. And you know, I'm okay with that. I'm okay.
Let's see if I hit the right video. And then you can tell what your motivation was behind this. Hopefully I hit the right one.
So I want to be very clear about something before I show you this video, because I do believe that transparency is absolutely important. And I do believe that everyone has a right to tell their story. But we as content creators get jerked way too much when it comes to brand deals, partnerships, and sponsorships. So this company that I'm about to show you really tried me in a way that I think is just so disrespectful. And as content creators, sometimes we don't genuinely know our worth. And it's frustrating because you have some people who they're going to come to the comment section and say, oh, well, you should have took the deal. And then you're going to have others that are going to understand my frustration and understand why I feel the way that I feel right now about them trying to jerk me and disrespect me as it relates to my platform. Not disrespect me personally, but disrespect me as it relates to access to my platform. And as content creators, we got to stop being so readily willing to just accept any offer that comes to our table just because we want to be able to say we got a brand deal, we got a partnership, and we got a sponsorship. So make sure your pause game is strong. I'm going to show you all of the receipts. Meet me in the comments. Peep game. So before I drop these screenshots, I want you to put this into perspective. On my TikTok, I have 1.3 million followers. Right here on Instagram, I think I'm coming up on 21K. And on my YouTube, I have 27K. Keep that in mind as you watch these next screenshots.
Let's do.
So I want to be very clear about something before I show you this video. You said you got one more?
Yeah, if I could get the right one.
Since TikTok keep taking my video down, go over to my Instagram or to my YouTube to catch the full video. Let's get it.
George Floyd was a piece of fucking shit, pure and simple. But yet 13 American soldiers get fucked off, and y'all quiet?
Let me first start off by pointing out the only thing that separates you from George Floyd is a criminal record that you yourself have admitted to having. Secondly, what person that loves our military describes those 13 soldiers' deaths as being fucked off? So allow me to do what you should have done, which is pay homage to those 13 soldiers and show their faces and say their names. Marine Corps Lance Corporal David Lee Espinoza. Marine Corps Sergeant Nicole L. Gee. Marine Corps Staff Sergeant Darren Taylor Hoover. Army Staff Sergeant Ryan C. Noss. Marine Corps Corporal Hunter Lopez. Marine Corps Lance Corporal Riley J. McCullum. Marine Corps Lance Corporal Dylan R. Marola. Marine Corps Lance Corporal Kareem M. Nikou. Apologies for my mispronunciation of his last name. Marine Corps Sergeant Janae Rosario. Marine Corps Corporal Humberto A. Sanchez. Marine Corps Lance Corporal Jared M. Schmitz. Navy Corpsman Maxton W. Soviek. And last, but certainly not least, Marine Corps Corporal Dagan William Tyler Page. Which leads me to my next 2 points. Number one, what are you doing? What are you doing to pay homage to these families of the lives lost? Genuine question. Number two, do you not understand, recognize, and realize that the average citizen cannot go to U.S. President Joe Biden's door and go and talk to him? And that there are people asking questions
from all branches, while also simultaneously understanding that this didn't start with U.S. President Joe Biden? Why didn't you mention Bush? Why didn't you mention Obama? Why didn't you mention Trump? Hello, make that make sense. You see, my issue with goofies like you is you don't truly care about us military. You just want to use us as a talking point. So the next time you fix your goofy ass lips to use us as a talking point, how about you actually pay homage? Good day, goofy.
Gotta get
That's
that
what
goofy
I'm
in
talking about.
there. Gotta get that goofy in there. You know what I'm saying? I think so with the first video, wow, this is a great way for us to conclude. So with the first video, I was talking about the responsibility with us as content creators to not just accept the bare minimum. This company reached out to me. First of all, they didn't even give me a compensation plan whatsoever. Cousin. And in that, I felt it was kind of weird. So in the creator marketplace on TikTok, they're supposed to give you a compensation plan, even if they say negotiable. There was nothing there whatsoever. So they asked me what my price was, and I told them $5,000 for 5 videos on not just my TikTok, but also on my Instagram and my YouTube, because in my mind, I'm thinking that's a lot of money, and I'm giving them access to more platforms. They come back with $50. $50? Now, it'd be one thing if they were hitting me up on Instagram, where I only got 20,000 on Instagram. I think I'm coming up on 21,000, 27,000 on my YouTube, 27,000 subscribers on my YouTube. They hit me up on my largest platform of 1.3 million. And they thought in their goofy ass mind that for $50, they were going to get access to my platform. Cap. So I said, no. So again, I'm thinking logically, okay, I'm still trying to get to the bag, right? I'm still thinking in terms of, maybe I just need to work with them a little bit. So they said, what's the lowest you'll accept? I even dropped it down $4,000 and said, you know what? Let's do it for a rack. They said $100 is the best that they can do with free toys. What do I look like? A teenager? I said, oh no. I said, no. And you all be blessed and have a great day. Because I'm not accepting that. I'm not accepting that at all. And sometimes we're made to feel bad for not accepting it. And in that regard, I feel like we put ourselves in a position to whereby there are content creators whom have never had a brand deal, never had a partnership, never had a sponsorship, but they just accept the bare minimum just to say that they have one. And we need to stop doing that. It wasn't until I got 300,000 supporters on TikTok before I got my first brand deal, which is this right here, Generational Curse Clothing, gcursellc.com. And all of the multicolor hats I wear in my videos, that's my frat brother's brand, Generational Curse Clothing, gcursellc.com. So in this regard, shut up, Maddie. In this regard, I said, what do I look like, a teenager? They say Scoot's nurse out of frame. We got to stop accepting the bare minimum as content creators. And I think for me, because I don't live off of this, I'm able to deny things a little bit more readily than individuals that do. And I've met people that literally live off of their social media. And I think it's a disservice and a disrespect to that individual's platform to offer them such a low payout for such large access. Now, the second video that you showed was me essentially correcting this guy who tried to use the reaction to the murder of George Floyd to the murder of 13 soldiers, sailors, and Marines over in Kabul. And I just thought that it was so intellectually and morally dishonest of him to do that, number one, because just because someone has a criminal record does not mean that they deserve to die, period. And all of the claims of him holding a gun to a pregnant woman's stomach, debunked. Him having a fake $20 bill, debunked. So the fact that he's been to jail is your means of calling him a POS, a piece of crap, when you yourself have a criminal record. So I'm not understanding how you're essentially the pot calling the kettle black. And in this regard, I feel like that's disingenuous of you to do when the man was murdered. Simultaneously, on the opposite end of the spectrum, you describe the deaths of these individuals as being fucked off. That's not paying homage. That's not showing respect to those lives lost. And then you didn't even say their names. You didn't even pay respects to their families. So how then can you say, oh, you wonder why other countries are laughing at us and not taking us seriously? You didn't even take yourself serious in your own video. You didn't. So in that regard, I feel like for me, now those of you that know me and know my platform know that I'm in the Navy, I'm active, but I ain't never been boots on the ground. I ain't never been IA. I ain't never been no operator. And I give respect to those men and women and those people that are though in those capacities. And I got 3 older brothers that have been boots on the ground, that have been to these war zones, that had the possibility of not returning back home. So how dare you utter that fictitious and facetious comparison and not even have the basic decency to say these individuals' names and pay homage to their lives, which have been lost? Because when we raise our right hand, and we got 2 veterans right here, when we raise our right hand and give that oath, we are subjecting ourselves to wherever they decide to send us. Now, if we just so happen to not come home, then we've given the ultimate sacrifice. But for what are we sacrificing for? And that's a whole nother conversation for a whole nother day. But in this regard, the fact that you decide to utter your lips and bring them up and not pay homage to them and not say their name, now I'm questioning your motives. Because now you're using talking points. Oh, y'all burn cities to the ground. Produce me a city that was burnt to the ground. Because when you utilize this rhetoric, you're utilizing the rhetoric of racists, of bigots, of white supremacists, of these goofy conservatives that spew these talking points. Y'all burned, rioted, looted, but I didn't hear you talk about in that same breath the amount of organizations that took responsibility for the carnage that happened at some of these protests, that made these fake protests, that made these fake gatherings in the name of Black Lives Matter just to cause carnage. If you're not going to add that in the conversation, then your motives are facetious at best. And they are not rooted in any type of a positive moral standing at all. So I just can't stand when people do that, and I can't stand when people try to make these immoral comparisons just for the sake of pushing a narrative. And then guess what happened? His account got banned for multiple community guideline violations. Go figure.
So just a couple last questions before we wrap it up.
Okay.
What are your superstitions or rituals that you follow or practice? And then the last one would be, what is your proudest life achievement?
Any superstitions? I'm not very superstitious, but rituals. Every day that I wake up, I tell myself these 3 things: I can succeed, I will succeed, I will not be a statistic. Because greatness is not an option. Greatness is an expectation. So the standards that I set for myself have to be higher than the standards that others set for me. And consistently telling myself this over and over and over and over again until I believe it, now I can walk in it. Now I can encourage others to be successful. Now I can encourage others to chase after their dreams and their goals and to do it in a way that is authentic to them. Oh, you cute. And what is my proudest life achievement? I would say overcoming a suicide attempt. December 23rd, 2009, I attempted to take my own life. And I'm so grateful that I was granted a second chance at life. And I tell people all the time, and one of my mentees, he likes to tell people, oh, my mentor saw an angel. But I just remember laying there, and I seen a figure from the distance. I'm not sure who or what it was, but it was just a human body with wings. And they asked me a question. And they said, if I wake you up, will you promise to never do this again? And that's how I live my life. Because the moment I said yes, my eyes opened. And there were people standing around me, right? And in that moment, I realized one very important truth, and I'm glad we're ending on this. In life, we may criticize the amount of people that are not in our life. We may have this void in our heart for someone that's not in our life. But what we must do is celebrate those that are in our life and those that do love us and do support us, because the reality is that that person that you might want there might never show up. That person that you want there might never be there. So in this regard, you don't need to spend your entire life waiting on something that may potentially never happen.
Now, did you, in closing, you're also starting with Patreon. You have a
Yes.
Patreon page. So if you want to tell a little bit of exactly what Patreon is, and then go into your other platforms on how they can follow you or subscribe to your channels.
Oh, sweet. Yeah, so I pretty much make it very easy to find me on social media. My TikTok, of course, Ispeak1906. My Instagram, Ispeak1906. Same as my Twitter, Ispeak1906. My YouTube, Anthony Hyland, Hyland. My album, Metaphorically Speaking, is available on all streaming platforms. My book, The Purpose of Power, is available on Amazon. My next book, Metaphorically Speaking, a collection of powerful and empowering poems from 2008 to 2021, is to come very soon, within the next few weeks. Oh yeah, my Cameo. I'll be forgetting about my Cameo. You can definitely, if you want like a personalized message, you can hit me up on Cameo. I'll drop you a personalized message. And my Patreon. So what I'm using my Patreon for is to essentially teach people how to build a sustainable platform and how to monetize their platform and stay consistent with their content creation. And I also do one-on-one coaching as well.
And that's part of your Patreon.
I just do that in general. Social media coaching. I've actually been thinking about getting my certification and becoming a life coach. I've been thinking about that. I think I might want to do that in next year. But yeah, as far as social media wise, yeah, I do social media coaching. So if you need some social media coaching, hit me up. I like to think that my prices are pretty fair as it relates to what an individual needs. And it's all going to be based on what your needs are for your platform and how you're trying to grow and what your ultimate objectives are. So again, I want to end it off by saying thank you so much for allowing me to grace your platform. And if anyone beyond this conversation has any questions for me, they can hit me up on Instagram, shoot me a message. I do a great job at answering my messages on Instagram. If we're mutuals on TikTok, you can send me a message on TikTok. However, if you're not a mutual with me on TikTok, you can't send me a message. I shut my DMs off because of some situations that happened last year. I don't be on Twitter that often. My Snapchat is for the ratchets and my close friends, so I don't really be giving that out, you know what I'm saying? Because, I still got to be able to be my ratchet self, you know what I'm saying? I like to think of myself as ratchet, you know what I'm saying? I can be sophisticated and ratchet when I need to be, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, I'm ridiculously thankful that you allowed me to come on your platform. And Swervin, thank you so much for your encouraging words earlier. I genuinely appreciate it. And I'm so thankful for the reach that not only myself, but my brothers have been able to have, as well as my sisters have been able to have on the platform that is TikTok to do what we do and to do the work that we do.
Thank you very much for coming, Ispeak. Go ahead.
Ispeak, I was going to say, I would also thank you for your encouraging words, your platform, your message, and that message resonates. So keep doing you, my friend. I'm loving what I see.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being out there.
And thank you so much for teaching, educating, bringing the word to inform people, using your platform for the good. Is that right? Using it for the good.
Absolutely.
Right. And hopefully you'll come back again sometime. And again, I got all your comments linked up in the comments. It should say on there.
Solid.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
so that way, because you forgot about your Cameo. I wanted to get all them. I said, how do I put them on there? I said, I'll just put them in the comments.
Oh, solid. Thank you so much. Have a good one.
Thank you so much and have a good day.